Review of the 1700s and the 1800s for our 2020 virus year review. Okay, going to the 1700s, let's go to France and look at the Palace of Versailles. Versailles, the gardens, the palace, the site, the Hall of Mirrors, the palace, the palace. All right, absolutism, that's the idea of monarchs that with absolute power, God wants them to rule. Newton talked about order in the universe, and then Louis sees himself as the Sun King, as the center of the universe. There's Versailles. We've got Notre Dame, the gardens, the theme of conquering nature, the theme of taking the forest and sculpting it with water and levels, painting with flowers. All right, remember we want to fully identify stuff, so the date, 1700 style, French Baroque, but don't worry about it. Materials, it's really a forest and a hunting lodge. If they're famous, we want to know them, Laval and Notre. Function, we always want to know the function. It's the home of the king and his aristocrat, his entourage. Famous, the gardens, transformation of nature, the power of man over nature. The form, for architecture, we want site. He's the center of the universe. His bedroom is the center of the universe. Connection, another famous site. How about the Acropolis? All right, now we go to this one, which is the hunting scene in Belgrade. This one is basically, I forget about it a lot, but it is, okay, it is material, tempera, paint. Date, 1700s. Style, Japanese, kind of. Function, it's a biombo, that's a Japanese screen in an aristocrat's home. What's it famous for? It's multicultural. It's a Japanese screen that went to the Philippines, which had New Spain, that went to Mexico, that was connected to Spain, which shows the power of the Habsburgs. The form, one side shows a battle of the Habsburgs showing power, the other side a landscape, pretty. Connection, maybe column of Trajan. They're both kind of boasting of power. Connections, by the way, you just work on your own. It's really the point of the connection is get you thinking about the art and connecting it. Virgin of Guadalupe, really, really important one in Mexico. Form, Enconchada is mother of pearl and paint. Place, Mexico. Date, 1698. Function, it's devotional. You pray to it. It has spiritual power. What's famous? It is famous. It's the most revered icon in Mexico. Hugely famous. You want to know her story and her image. Form, the Enconchada with the pearl, the icon of Mary, the icon of the moon and the sun from the Bible, and the icon of the eagle and the cactus from Mexico. Connection, compare her to the Notre Dame stained glass, Our Lady of the Beautiful Window. Lots of images of Mary. All right, then we have the scientific revolution. And that leads to the Enlightenment of scientific revolution 1600s leads to the Enlightenment of the 1700s. Newton, there are physical laws. Enlightenment, there must be natural laws for government, for human beings, for society. Enlightenment wants progress to be reasonable to improve the world. Okay, here's our work here of the philosopher. And we've got observable science. And we have, okay, so it's an material, oil paint. Date, 1700s. Place, England. Function, it's kind of a genre painting of thinkers. They had these groups of people that would, Darwin's grandfather was in there. They thought about science. So it's a genre painting or a portrait of thinkers in England. What's it famous for? Really the use of light. It uses tenebrism, that bold, dramatic, Baroque spotlight. And, okay, form, tenebrism, naturalism, and connection, Caravaggio. Take the religious light of the Baroque, whammo, put it into the Enlightenment, so you have God learning. Okay. Okay, Spanner, okay, what's up with this one here? It's in the New World, the 1700s. It's an oil painting, and its function, it's a casta painting. They're paintings about race. Race is a big deal in the New World. You have the Spaniards and the natives, and so race, it's an exploration of race. They had all kinds of these. Famous because it examines race. Also famous, it's near the Enlightenment where people are trying to figure things out. Form, naturalism. It shows mixed race people. Or a family portrait, something like that. Connection, I think back to Akhenaten, Nefertiti and the three daughters, a domestic scene in art, or a family in art. All right, Portrait of Juana Cabrera. What's up with this one? It's an oil painting, 1750, New World. Function, it is a portrait. What's famous about it? She is the first feminist. She was a very famous woman who was a nun and an intellectual. Form, natural. A portrait. Icons, Christian icons, icons of the Enlightenment, icons of learning. Connection, think of her to another portrait of LeBron we'll see soon. Rococo, 1700s, the French aristocracy, ha ha ha. Okay, the swing. Yes, here we go. All right, there's the swing. We love the swing. Kind of paint, oil, style, Rococo, place, France, 1700s, artist, Fragonard, function, entertainment. This would go in a rich person's home, an aristocratic home. Famous, it elevates love. It's not about Pope, it's about Moses, it's not about Jesus, it's about love. Form, pastel colors, trees looking like lightning, life, nature, icons of Cupid. And connection, it's connected to, oh, here we go. Serious painting of the 1600s, fun painting of the 1700s. All right, tete-a-tete marriage a la mode. Hogarth, what's up with this one here? All right, it is an oil painting from England in the 1700s. And it's going to be a narrative, its function, it is a narrative painting. It tells a story, and it is satire. It's making fun of the aristocracy. Famous, satire, makes fun of the aristocracy and elevates the morality of the middle class. Not lazy, rich slackers, but hardworking middle class people. Form, satire. Got some icons of statues here. And connection, I connected to George Washington, who's very different. He's going to be very different than these lazy aristocrats. All right, LeBron is this one here, LeBron's self-portrait. She was famous for painting Queen Marie Antoinette. All right, if we break this one down, it's an oil painting, 1700s, France. Artist is LeBron. Function, it's a self-portrait. Famous, she was a really famous artist. She was a very successful female painter. She painted the Queen. Form, naturalism, humble, authentic, not Rococo, very down to earth. Connection, compare her to a rival of Marie de Medici. Very, very different. She's very down to earth. All right, American Revolution, 1776. Democracy, neoclassical is the new classical. Take the old classical stuff and make it new. Tommy Jefferson, Monticello. Here we go. All right, what's up with Jefferson? It's Jefferson, the year 1700s. The style, neoclassical. Material, brick. What's the function? It is his home. Why is it famous? He is the originator of neoclassical or the new classical. He'll use classical architecture of democracy to express the symbolic ideas of democracy of the new American Republic. All right, form, classical, geometry, math. Connection, Pantheon or Parthenon. All right, George Washington, our buddy. George, got the farmer's plow. He's a president, not a king. He doesn't need his sword. It's on the outside. The rods are the 13 states stuck together for strength. E pluribus unum, from many, one. From 13 to one. From many cultures to one. All right, George and George and George. All right, so let's break it down. What is this? George Washington. What's the material? Marble. Who's the artist? Houdon. The style, neoclassical. The date, 1700s. Function, commemorate and honor our first president. Famous, George was not a king. He was a regular guy. He even put his plow in there. He is a citizen soldier, a regular person that serves and goes back to his farm. The form is classical, contrapposta. Right, connection, maybe Augustus of Prima Porta. He's a very different kind of king. He is a humble, regular kind of king. He's not a king. He's a president, not a king. All right, 1700s. Okay, I've got French Revolution. And American Revolution is first, and the French Revolution in 1789. We want equality. Okay, Oath of Horatio. This is neoclassical painting. All right, what's the deal here on this one? The material is oil. The artist is David. The style is neoclassical. The place, France. The date, 1700s. Function. This is really expressing the ideas of the French Revolution allegorically. Famous because it's the first neoclassical painting, and it's an allegory of the French Revolution. It's a Roman story of sacrifice, but it's really about sacrifice for the French Revolution. Form is classical form. Look at the body, contrapposta, natural form, hard line, clarity, neoclassical. All right, connection, compare it to Goya. War is great, war is awful. Very, very different from Goya. We'll see in a second. 1785, sacrifice. There's that neoclassical form. French is going to have a lot of revolutions. 1789 French Revolution, Napoleon, then the king will come back. In 1830, we'll have another revolution. We'll see that in a second. Cut their heads off, crazy. Now we'll go to Romanticism in the 1800s. All right. Romanticism is going to be very different from neoclassical. It's going to be an emotion. A lot of nice justice things happen. People start to worry about slavery. Stylistically, classical is going to be like neoclassical. Romanticism is more like Hellenistic, more expressive, more emotional. Goya, nothing to be done. All right, this is an etching. It was meant for a book. It's Goya. It's the 1800s. It's Spain. He's in his own league. He is Goya. Function, this is an anti-war illustration. Famous, it's the first anti-war art about war crimes and the horror of war. Don't celebrate war, but criticize war. Form, real, violent, horrifying, suffering. He's almost like a crucified Christ. Connection, very different from Oath of Horatio. Okay, Le Grand Odalisque, 1814. What's up with this one? Material is oil. Artist is Ingres. That was a student of David that did Horatio. 1814 and France, Ingres. Function, this is about beauty. It's a beautiful painting. Someone would buy it because they thought it was pretty. Famous, the female figure is very famous. This one is famous for being kind of imperialistic in the sense that this is a Turkish harem, but they romanticize it. It's like the imperialistic view of a Turkish woman. The form, old school, ideal, line, not color, clarity, recumbent, nude. We'll see a lot of this. Connection, Venus of Urbino, and Olympia. All right, remember the salon is making the rules of art here. Controlled line, finished, beautiful product. Okay, Delacroix is going to be a rebel of the Romanticism. He's going to innovate, liberty leading the people. It's Delacroix, it's Romanticism, it's an oil paint, it's 1830, it's France. Function, he's talking about the revolution of 1830. It's a current event. It's an actual event. He's telling a current event. Famous, liberty icon, the idea of democracy. Form, color, not line. Expressive, not logical. Diagonal, not vertical. Connection similar to Athena battling the giants. Delacroix is into expressive color. Here's color. Here is line. He is a color guy. Revolution and bourgeoisie. Symbol of liberty. She's a nude like Athena and a Greek one. Okay, slave ship. Turner. All right. Famous. Turner. Oil painting. England. 1800s. Function. It's about justice. It's about a horrible event. It's about slavery. Famous. He paints light. He abstracts. He's also famous for dealing with issues like slavery. The form. Abstracted. Connection. Let's think. I can't think of one right now. All right. Paint truth. Oxbow. Coal. 1840. Oil painting. Romanticism. New York. 1830s. Function. It's a landscape. Famous. Famous for the symbolism and an American manifest destiny. American nature. Sublime on the left. Organized and orderly on the right. Form. Ideal and sublime nature. Connection. Other landscapes. Okay. All right. Last one. I kind of fast forwarded. Courbet, Realism, Stonebreakers. Stonebreakers, an oil painting by Courbet. It's Realism, 1800s France. Function, it's for the working man. This painting would try to go to the salon, but it's really about elevating the working man and the worker. Context of Karl Marx and a lot of revolution. Famous for showing actual people, not a king, not a pope, but real people really working. The form is real, authentic, gritty. Connection, I can't think of one right now. Okay, that was fast, but there we go.